What happens if you jump in green to a Hardrock Underground mining job? Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and in today's video I just want to talk about what happens if you jump into one of the many jobs that are around at the moment. So if you type underground into Seek, you will see all the truck and nipper jobs come up. There's lots about. We're going to have a chat about what happens if you jump into one and what can go wrong and what can go right and all that sort of stuff. So for those that are new to the channel, just wanted everybody to know I've been doing job hunt videos for a long time now, so they go back a couple of years, and we specialise in hard rock underground mining, and that is where the majority of the new starter jobs are these days. But before you go jumping in green to a new starter role underground, and especially in a hard rock underground mine, there's some things that you really need to know. And one of those things is that they have a high turnover of new starters. So when you go in green, you go in on their timeline, unfortunately. And what that normally means is that you get up to site, or if you're over here in WA, a number of the bigger companies have training facilities you do. So you can do anywhere from 3 to 9 days down in Perth in a simulator, doing simulations of what's going to happen. That can be very hit and miss with people. They've added that in the last couple of years, and it really hasn't made much of a difference at all to the turnover, unfortunately. If anything, on some sites it's made it a little bit worse, especially with the longer training periods in Perth, because when you get to site, because you've done the longer training period in Perth, there's more expected of you, and it just depends on how much you picked up. And that's the big problem, because when you go in green, you go in on their timeline, and they want you up and running as quickly as possible. Why do they want you up and running as quickly as possible? Well, we're going to have a look at this video here, and this was one done by the ABC about a month ago about the Victorian gold rush that they're having, all the gold mines being reopened. And I just want to watch this quickly, just because it's going to go through and illustrate why the pressure's on to get you up to speed so quickly.
And surprisingly, the deeper they're dug, the better the returns, with enormous economic benefits. Each giant truck that roars up from the deep underground workings carries lucrative pay dirt. The current buoyant gold price, around $2,600 per ounce, means each is hauling more than $100,000 of gold.
So it's 100 grand worth of gold in the back of this truck going up. And this is the pressure that people don't realise that's on you. The reason that they want you up to speed is because with haulage, especially from Hard Rock Underground, you're only as strong as your weakest truck driver, which means that everybody cycles around. So this truck, when it goes and dumps its load, it has to follow this truck down. Now, if this person's a learner and they're going slow and this person's experienced, all that's really going to happen is that this person's probably going to catch them up and then read a magazine for 15 minutes while this person gets loaded. Now, that's all well and good for, a couple of days or a week maybe while the new starter tries to get up to speed. But if it's costing, 5 or 10 loads a day because the person that's new isn't going to get up to speed, they're not backwards and coming forwards and shy about tapping people on the shoulder and saying that this just won't work out, unfortunately. And that's the issue that people have with these new starter jobs. Whether you like it or not, when you go in green, and the thing that I really wanted to be firm on with this channel was giving people an accurate information about what they were actually jumping themselves into. And if you go in green, so you don't know anything on day one, and you put yourself on the employer's timeline, they turn over more than 50% of their new starters. And again, you can go back to the old videos that I've done from a year ago or 2 years ago. I've been saying the same thing for years now, over and over again, and we have a look at the same employers looking for the same new starter jobs because they've only been able to put a few people through, and the majority of people that they've had come through have unfortunately failed. And, one of the big things on that is that they hit you with a wall of information when you first get there. And because we're from the industry, I myself, started as a nipper in '94 and got my shift boss ticket in 2007. We recognised a long time ago that it's information overload for a new starter when they get to site. No matter how the employers tried to do it in the last 25 years, nobody's been able to put anything into place that reduces this turnover. And it just comes down to the fact that if you are if you're from the HR point of view, if you're interviewing somebody that doesn't know anything about the job, then you're going to have a high turnover rate regardless. And that's the problem with our industry, is because it's all on the job training. Most people jump into it without knowing anything about it. And it is what it is, unfortunately. And that's why the sponsors wrote the DIY package years ago, was to not only give a new starter all the mining knowledge on how the mine works, but also go into great detail about what each job does in the Hardrock Underground. So your entry-level jobs like nipper, truck and service crew. So it goes into great detail, and it shows you exactly what your buddies should be showing you down the hole. Because when you get to site, you'll end up doing inductions. Even if you've done the training down in Perth, you'll still have to do the on-site inductions and on-site equipment tickets. So you'll get put in with a buddy after you've done that. So normally if you're 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, it's normally, 8 or 9 days of paperwork, so maybe a couple of days in a truck, and a couple of days familiarising yourself running around with the nipper or the shift boss, and then the next swing back it would be straight into the truck with a buddy, and that you'd drive around in the dicky seat for a little while, and they'd be trying to get you into the seat as quickly as possible to get you up to speed. And if you'll have that swing and probably a swing after that to get your shit together, and if you don't, like I said, it's at $100,000 a load. If after 3 swings that you're not coming up to speed, at least being able to confidently drive the truck by yourself, because you'll get up to speed. They'll give you a little bit more time, but if you're really struggling just to even be in the truck by yourself because you're struggling with what's going on around you, which what most people have problems with, just generally knowing what everybody's doing around them. If you're struggling with that, then they're not afraid to say thanks, but no thanks, it's not working out. And that's why there's the constant flow of jobs. These jobs are just repeated over and over and over again because they just run through people, and they've been running through people for sort of 3 or 4 years now. With a lot of the people that leave messages on Facebook pages saying that I've just got a job in Hardrock Underground, I really struggle to say congratulations to them, unfortunately, because I know the reality of the situation is that if they haven't done any study and they don't know what's going on, then they've really only probably got a 30% chance of making it. So how are you supposed to say congratulations to somebody that's just got their dream job that comes with a 30% success rate on it that they don't really understand or really know about? And that's the issue that is the problem with Hardrock Underground, with their entry-level jobs. Like I said, it's been like that since I've first started. The only way around it that we've found in the last 25 years is education, and the onus is on yourself to educate yourself before you go, to give yourself that best chance. The employers try and do the best they can with what they got. But, we're in a boom at the moment. When you're trying to get into the mining industry and when you get your job in Hardrock Underground mining, it's really important to know that going in green, you've got a major chance of failing, unfortunately. So the more you know before you go, the better off your chances of getting in. So I did these series of videos not too long ago. It's called the Bestshot series. It's on the Underground Training channel, on the Underground Training website. And there's 35-minute videos, and it just goes into answering all the questions about, what employers want, and tickets, and full formal qualifications, and resumes, and interviews, and do you need to relocate, and what's going on with the job market, and all that sort of stuff. So you can look through all those videos. But the best thing, and like the theme of it all, is the more educated you are and the more you know before you go, the better the chance you are of finding your feet. And the sooner you find your feet, the sooner you'll have a permanent job. And that's the thing about it, is that it's all about finding your feet as quickly as possible. And when you go in green, unfortunately, you leave yourself open to, that not happening, unfortunately. So I hope you find that information helpful. Yeah, that's the process. If you go in green, they want you up to speed as quickly as possible. And the reason for that is that there's just so much money involved. And if you can't make it, then they'll reach a point where they'll say, okay, there's no point in, this person's not going to improve beyond this point. They're not going to get to where we want them to. So it's time to give somebody else another go. I know that's harsh and extreme, but that's just the way it works. And, and to not know that before you go in, I know people really struggle with that when they get to site. So I hope you found that information helpful, and if you've got any more questions about getting into the mining industry or what's going on in the industry at the moment, just send them through. And if you could share this information around and like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.